well, welcome back to the SILCA YouTube channel here. We wanted to go through and kind of take a mid-season break and look at the racing so far on the Lifetime Grand Prix, and thought it would be a good cast to bring together some of the SILCA athletes. We have Alexey Vermeulen, Adam Roberge, and Dylan Johnson here joining us, kind of to talk through the first half of the Lifetime season, where they're at, races they're excited to do going forward, and just kind of get a heat check on how the season's going. So I think we have Alexey. We'll start with you because I think you're at the top of the three of you of the Grand Prix standings right now. Do you want to give us just kind of a little bit of an overview of how the first half of the season has gone?
Yeah, Grand Prix is interesting to me. I think I'll throw back to last year first. Is I had a very consistent, no real bad luck at all last year. It was kind of just went, and it was simple. And I remember getting to Big Sugar and thinking, I have to be, the worst result I can get has to be, top 5 or something. I was sitting in second. I remember calculating the points for the first time and realizing I could drop to like 18th on the last race of the year. And I think that was a reminder that the series, you have to race all the way to the end. If you have someone like Keegan, maybe they're going to solidify their spot if you win every single race. But aside from that, it is a battle all the way to the end. And that means that people have to be hitting out in October, the same as not, unless they still have both drop races left, which most guys don't. So leading into this year, I went in a little more relaxed, and I don't know, it didn't work very well. I was kind of just came out of Sea Otter and felt like it was nothing and blah, and then went to Unbound and it was fine, but it wasn't anything great. And I think that's all comparing to last year too, where everything's went perfectly. So it was easy to critique those results. But yeah, that took our little mid-season break we have here after Tusher, and found my solace and fire burning in my belly and just training hard. So I think the Grand Prix to me is always going to be something that pushes athletes further than they would normally go, because you have to do a race even if you don't want to. Like, I didn't really want to go to Crusher. I wasn't ready for it. But given the start of the season I had, didn't have a choice.
Yeah, because I think you were, top 10 at Crusher? 8?
Yeah, barely. I think I screwed it in there. 8th or 9th, yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely not one you'd probably have for a drop. So, even a day you didn't really want to show up scoring points and getting a good result. So, awesome.
Yeah.
Adam, what about you? How's the season going? I know we're a couple days out from Leadville, and I think that's a chosen drop race for you, right?
Yeah, Steamboat is the week after, and I feel like I can focus my preparation more on Steamboat, such a big race. And I have also a pretty big race here in Canada, the weekend of Leadville. And I just feel like a lot of those Lifetime Grand Prix races are maybe a little bit more specific to some type of riders. And you kind of see it because other races don't play exactly the same. So the race in Colorado, high altitude, a lot of climbing, like you pretty much know what are gonna be the standing at the end of the race. Like, you don't know exactly who's gonna be where, but this guy is gonna be on this side of the sheet, this side of the sheet, this side of the sheet. So I just felt like, unless I want to lose 7 pounds, go to Colorado for a month, I'm not gonna make a top 10 in Leadville, and I just don't really see the purpose for me to do best case scenario 17th place.
Yeah.
So I think this race is so, unless you, like last year I was kind of lying to myself, it's 3,000 feet, it's gonna be altitude like altitude is, but it's not the same type of altitude. So so that's why I'm not doing Leadville, and I think it was planned from the beginning of the season that I was. I think it's, unless you want to do it, like, you need to really do your preparation great for Leadville if you want to arrive there and do something good. Unless you live in Colorado or in Utah and you're already there, but like for me, it's Um, I'd rather try to win 3 other races than focus on Leadville for a top 10 that will take everything out of me. So that's why Leadville is not on the calendar for me.
Yeah. Okay. And what elevation are you at? You're in Montreal?
200. I'm in the mountains here. So Montreal is at maybe 3, and you have to climb a little bit to go where I live. So yeah, 200 meters is my preferred altitude choice. Our highest mountains are like 800. So yeah,
That sounds
but we have
almost
a
like
lot of
Indiana.
mountains though. I can do 10,000 feet in less than like 120K. So it's pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of
I
climbing.
think I think
It's
that's
small climbs, but a lot of them.
yeah. I think that's a good
We need more races on the East Coast. We just need more races on the East Coast.
yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's a national series that is pretty much all but one race west of the Mississippi. So
Yeah, I think we don't. I think like for sure. I think the result will look a little bit different. If there was some races in Vermont, some races in Michigan, like I think like it would look similar for sure,
mhm.
but I think it will look different. I think it favors a type of rider for sure. The lifetime, the way it's built. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good transition too, straight to Dylan, because talk about preparation. How long have you been? I guess where are you now, and how long have you been up at altitude?
Yeah, I'm right here in Leadville right now. But I've been at altitude since Crusher. I didn't go back east after Crusher. I just stayed in Utah, Colorado area. I haven't been in Leadville this whole time. I think I spent a little bit of time in Durango, a little bit of time in Breckenridge, and now some time in Leadville. So I'm feeling pretty well acclimated, probably as well acclimated as I'm going to get. And it's really hard to say how the numbers are looking because I'm not that used to seeing my altitude numbers, especially up here at Leadville altitude. So the numbers are obviously lower and I don't have a lot to compare it to. I guess I could compare it to last year, but it's hard to say whether the form is good or bad right now because the numbers are not what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I think
Just train more, man.
yeah, you're kind of coming into, and I think kind of your, other than Unbound, maybe your preferred event from the Grand Prix, right?
I don't know if it's my preferred event, but my two A races of the year are Unbound and Leadville, and I think it's just because of the races in the Grand Prix. Those are probably the two biggest races and the two races that get the most publicity, and they're the most widely known races, so I kind of target those. I mean, I want to do well in every Grand Prix race that I do, but particularly Unbound and Leadville, I would say.
Okay. How does that, kind of looking into where you're sitting with results and kind of expectations from the beginning of the year, where do you think you're going to make a jump in the standings, or is that the goal, or just putting together a good ride?
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely the goal. I'm sitting in 16th in the standings right now, and I got 16th in the standings last year, although I think the Grand Prix field is more competitive this year than it was last year. So I am happy to be in that position, but obviously the goal would be improvement. I think the series, I was a little bit nervous at the start of the year because after Sea Otter, I thought I did a decent performance at Sea Otter, and then I think I got like 30th or 31st place, and I was just thinking, man, I have so much work to do. Like, it's crazy how fast they've gotten. But Unbound went a lot better, and kind of the whole block of racing around Unbound, even the non-Grand Prix races like Gravel Locos and then the BWR North Carolina race afterwards, that was probably one of the best blocks of racing that I've had in my career. And I think my form was the highest that it's ever been in that May-June time frame. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Dylan doesn't talk about it, but I'm the one training him. I'm the one telling him what to do. That's why he trains that hard.
Yeah,
That's why it's going well for him.
Adam and I had a long conversation after a disappointing Seattle result about what I need to do.
No, was it no more flyers off the front from the line, or?
Yeah.
No, that was definitely the best move of the season. I wish we had a photo of that.
Yeah, for 30 seconds I was winning the Grand Prix.
Yeah, you were in first place. You were in first place. You can say that, yeah. First place for a part of the year.
Well, that's awesome. I think just kind of looking at where we're sitting now, Keegan has won all three races so far. This year he actually won all three, not just the top Grand Prix rider. But how do you guys deal with that from a mental side of things, where you show up and we're nine lifetime Grand Prix races into this 1.5 year long stretch, and he's won 9 of them, or no,
he's won
7 of them.
7 of them.
7 of them. Mm-hmm. He had a crash in the final corner and won, and didn't win Big Sugar. I think that's the only one that seems like it was kind of a.
You got that 6.
What's that?
6 of them. Forgot about Big Sugar.
Yeah.
Big Sugar, Schwamigan, Unbound 2022.
Yeah, he was the top lifetime guy at Unbound 2022.
Oh no, you're right.
But didn't win.
You've always known the lifeline.
Yeah. Okay, but either way, right? So he's
no.
got a clean sweep on
my
points.
point in fighting this, Travis. My point in fighting this, Travis, is that like that's the mindset I have to have. Like, there has to be a crack in the armor. Like, being friends with Keegan's hard, right? He's the nicest kid, in my opinion, off the bike. He does everything better than I do on the bike, like, consistently. I love racing my bike. I'm competitive as can be. I don't put as much work into preparing for a race as Keegan does. Nobody does on the start line. And I've seen that since I first moved, and like I'd reach out to him as the puny little road kid and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go ride Whiskey 50. Can you come ride?" And then they dropped me by 10 minutes, and him and Russell sitting at the bottom and waiting for me. And I remember looking at them, and Keegan's out pre-riding the Fat Tire Crit course on like different bikes, high posts, drop her down, drop her up, suspension on, suspension off, and I was like, "Who is this guy? We're racing for $500." And so I think like that like fight for like where has Keegan struggled ever? It has to happen in my head constantly every race, because it doesn't matter. Like, he is going to be the strongest. He's going to be the most intimidating. It's the same as like when Sagan was winning. Like, he just took over whatever spot he wanted. Mm-hmm. And Keegan deserves all of it, but that doesn't mean it can't end at some point.
Yeah,
I think Keegan he doesn't have a weak spot. You know what I mean? He's an amazing bike handler. He's an amazing climber. He can do well on the flats. He's got an amazing sprint. He's got incredible endurance. Like, there's no weak point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you, Adam? How do you approach Keegan being in the race?
I think there are some races that I approach that I think I can beat him if I do everything right, like Big Sugar, Unbound. But races in Colorado that are climbing races or mountain bike races, I don't know what I need to do. Like, honestly. I think, yeah. So races that are more strategic, like that are flatter, maybe like gravel races, like that looks a little bit more like road races. Then I think it opens up the possibility more of winning. But when it's like super specific, like at the end of the day, a race like Crusher, a race like Leadville, like it's what per kilos. Like, if you're not able to do those things in training in altitude, like you're not gonna be able to do it in a race. So I think it's choosing your. For me, I see it like choosing my battles against him, and like if he was doing other races than the lifetime on the gravel side, maybe I would have more opportunity to like actually feel like I'm racing against him, because I feel like I'm racing against him at Unbound and Big Sugar, but like he's not doing like gravel worlds or this. Yes, I don't know if you could call them smaller races, but they for sure get less attention because they're not part of the Grand Prix. I mean, if he was racing more on the gravel side, then maybe you have more opportunity in those kind of races, but he's kind of doing the mountain bike stuff when he's not doing the lifetime stuff. So I only see him in the series, and like honestly in the series there's probably 2 races that I can like compete, like so
Yeah, I like
that's
the pick and choose your battles, and there's
Yeah.
a couple races where, hey, if everything goes right here, we can
Yeah.
put together a good effort and
Yeah.
give him a run for his money.
Yeah, exactly. Then I mean it's good to have a guy like him in the sport for sure. I think I don't know, maybe what's happening is that yeah, guys that could beat him like climbing wise and stuff, and like that are physically as good as him are probably in the world tour in the US. So that's a little bit like maybe how I see it. Yeah.
For you guys, I'm seeing Adam's shirt there as a jukebox shirt. I think the obvious question is when do team tactics come into? I know jukebox is the team that's not a team, but at what point do gravel teams start coming in? How many years does somebody like him go and win the Grand Prix before somebody gets together and says, the 4 of us can take him down?
I don't know that gravel tactics make that much difference. Definitely like maybe a wheel or something, but in my opinion, I've only seen it work once with Russell and Sophia last year. It's just, I don't know that I ever see any of my friends, let alone teammates, in races. Like you're so, at least I'm so focused on what's ahead, it's hard for me to, I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think
but
yeah, some races would probably work a little bit more with teamwork. Like Steamboat is a good example. Gravel World is another good example. But like all the races on the lifetime, like I don't know how you can organize teamwork. Like they're all about not flatting, and or they're crazy climbing on their mountain bike race. So like mountain bike race, you cannot organize teamwork. Big Sugar and Unbound is all about flatting, so like drafting is not that good of an idea a lot of the time, and it's really bad most of the time. And the other races, like they're altitude races and they're climbing like crazy, so I don't think having a lead out before the first climb of Crusher would be very good, like would help you very much. So yeah, I don't. I see it maybe on races that are not part of the lifetime, and would a team focus on all their effort on races that are not part of the lifetime? I don't know, maybe, but yeah, really see it right now. There's not the money needed for it.
People assumed that Adam and I were doing team tactics at Gravel Locos, but we were not.
Yeah, he was just taking all the win, and I was not. I was sitting back. That was the tactic.
Adam was just racing a lot smarter than I was.
Yeah, he was doing me a 200K lead out with Ian.
And I mean, BWR North Carolina, we were like actively chasing each other down. So
yeah, no, that was not tactic. He brought me back, and then I took my revenge. I'll probably let him win if he didn't bring me back, but
so I remember we were on a similar thing to this with Jukebox, and the question came up, are you guys going to do team tactics? And I think we all just agreed that we're not doing team tactics. I don't know if it's a Spirit of Gravel thing or if we're all just selfish, but yeah.
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 No, I mean,
No, I don't.
From an outside perspective, that's awesome, right? Like I love watching road racing and I love the team tactics, and that's exciting and strategic and whatever, but there's also something about watching the gravel side that you don't have that, and it's just mano a mano. You know, who's stronger, who's riding a smarter race that day, who can get the other guys to do things for them, you know, not on their team. You know, so I think that's an awesome outlook, and I hope it stays that way. So awesome. Well, I think one of the things that, looking from the outside again at this year's Grand Prix versus last year, and this might just be totally my perspective, so I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on it, but the addition of the rad at the end of the season. You have a 7th race. They added a drop race, so now you're getting 5 out of 7 instead of 5 out of 6. How does that change your thought process here, sitting 3 races in, 4 to go? You know, where you're at, what races you're targeting. You know, does that target different people differently? I guess, are you watching other people differently than you might have last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the rad, having 2 drop races instead of 1 drop race, it means that you don't have to be quite as consistent as you did last year. You can have 2 major mess ups and still be okay. So, you know, and probably it gives an opportunity for people like Adam to, you know, if they really dislike a race, they can skip it and it's not the end of the world. I honestly need to do more research into the rad. I don't know a lot about the course, to be honest with you. I've kind of just been solely focused on Leadville. But yeah, it should be an interesting race.
I'm super happy that they added the rad. I think, yeah, a little bit more races, I think, will get lucky a little bit away from the series. If you have 2 drop races, maybe there's a little bit less luck in the final result. So yeah, I like that they added a race. It's another one in Colorado. Maybe they could have been more creative with where it is, but
I'm with Adam. I would have loved to have I'm with Adam. I would have loved to have an East Coast race. Obviously, I'm biased because I live on the East Coast, but it would have been amazing to have an East Coast gravel race, or honestly, even better than that would be a like a Pisgah race on the mountain bikes.
yeah.
What, looking through the parkour a little bit, last week I think I was looking at the rad. It looks a lot like Steamboat to me. Right, there's a bunch of climbing in the middle, but it's not like a Crusher summit finish. I think it's 110 miles and 10,000 feet of vert. So it's not flat by any means, and it's at 5,000 feet, not 10,000 like Leadville. But you know, it kind of seems like if you're really targeting Steamboat, that would be another one right up your alley, Adam.
Oh yeah. I'm for sure focusing a lot on those 2 races, for sure. I think you said it really right. It's 5,000 is not 10,000. It's really different. You're losing something, but I feel like you can manage it way more that if you're not living there, you know. Like I've raced, I've done good at Steamboat. Yeah, without altitude training, and it's been okay. You're still losing a little bit. It's not ideal, but the way the course is built, like I don't know it. Like it's hard. Like you can look at the profile and you think, oh, everything looks pretty good, and you arrive there, and finally there's a climb that really like is more than you think it was. But like, yeah, if it looks like Steamboat, yeah, I'm for sure super excited for it. I don't know what the gravel looks down there. If it looks like Steamboat, I'm all in for it. But I like rough gravel also. I don't really mind rough gravel, but yeah, no, that's, I think when like they said there was a new race and they announced that race, like I was thrilled about it, because I was looking at all the races Lifetime had. Honestly, like I was not thinking they were creating another one. Like, yes, for sure, my hope would be they create another one in my backyard, like Dylan just said. But like, they're gonna take a race that they already have. So in the race that they already had, that was the best. Like that was the most excited one I was looking forward. So, no, I think it's a super great addition to the series.
What about you, Alexey? I think I saw you went and did recon on the course earlier this year, right?
Yeah, they were trying to do a promo for it. It's so hard to say. It's a fast gravel race. I'd say I haven't done Steamboat, so I can't compare it to Steamboat, which is hard. It's also in the spring. It was muddy and like there was truck lines. They've been logging out there, so it's for sure going to be awesome. And I was excited, same as probably Adam and Dylan, because I think most of us thought it was going to be Little Sugar, which is a very, very technical mountain bike race, which I still think is coming probably next year.
Little Sugar?
I think it's going to be in the Grand Prix next year.
I think it's included before Big Sugar?
Yeah, I think it's the plan. And I mean, they wouldn't create anything like that otherwise, in my opinion. But I think it's, I don't think Rad is going to have any crazy changes to the overall. But I also don't think, I don't think many people are going to skip it because they don't know what it is. And that's, I think, going to, play into a big, fast race with a bunch of strong guys, even the Europeans that keep debating on what races to skip and what races not to. And I think it is up to any of the strongest guys and some tactics that can happen, like the end of Big Sugar, where it came down to, me, Adam, Russell, and Keegan, and it was really whoever made the right move. I mean, I was probably the most fucked of that group, and it was just the matter of time to like the right move went, and like when Russell went, it was an immediate gap. Like it wasn't like anyway. Everyone looked at each other. And
even if you were the most like destroyed, like if you went, you would have like it was like a matter of like who's gonna go and have that like little hesitation. And for sure, I feel like looking back on it, I don't know if you had that feel, but I felt like Russell and Keegan played a little bit more together. So like looking back on it, maybe Russell was the more logical choice of like having that chance of a flyer, because like we're looking at Keegan.
Yeah.
Because he's
Yeah, I mean, I think Keegan didn't want to get beat by anybody. He's still going to chase Russell, but he's also not like he's intelligent about it. And Russell and him train together all the time, and like they're friends, right? And so that's the thing you always have to remember, and you listen to a lot of their stuff is like, I mean, the sad part is on the day, considering how like Big Sugar went for me, like flatting so early and chasing forever, I could not have been happier to finish fourth the entire year. I was so stoked. I was just like, this is awesome.
No, that was an impressive chase. No. When you came back, like honestly, like when we were like just like 8 guys or 9 guys already, because it went like crazy hard at the beginning, and I was like, you had trouble down there? No, I flatted. Oh my god!
It's the biggest 90 minutes of my entire career. So,
crazy.
I mean, I think it was fear and adrenaline, and not really strength.
Fear and adrenaline.
But I had
prize money going out. No.
It was that thing of why in the fuck did you look at how far down you can drop? Like I was like, this is so stupid. Is this really how I'm gonna like race all year and fucking finish 9th overall because I didn't know how to fucking ride my bike down a hill? And so it was anger and fear and adrenaline, and I still remember I was like, there's no way we're getting back. And then every time I started to see you guys around the corner, and I'd be like, okay, shit, keep pushing.
So what kind of flat was it?
Pinch flat.
Like quick plug?
I rode it. No. I put CO2 in. It kept, and then it sealed with like 15 psi. I rode 15 psi all day.
Yeah, I rode 15 psi all day, but didn't had the chance not to get dropped. It's created the SILCA sealant, I guess, but 15 psi was the pressure of both of us. It sealed fast, but yeah.
And that's all these choices that you make, I think, bike tech and setup, and you go back to Keegan, like that's the game, right? Are you running inserts? Are you not? How much sealant are you running? Are you going to stop at your plug-in? Or are you not? Like there's an optimal way to do it, but you also got to be with your pals and your colleagues at that point. So yeah, I mean, I look at the Rad as a true just go race it race. There's not going to be much bad luck, I don't think. But it's 1 race to 7, and I think by that point most people will have used their drop races.
Yeah.
So how does that change? Kind of the tech. I think all three of you. I don't know if Dylan has brought it up, but have had a race where flats have really made a big impact. Or I think Dylan did actually at Unbound this year. But how does having another drop race change the tech? Does it just give you a little more confidence in running what you're running, or are you going to take a few more risks at some of those events where you think maybe a result is, a top result is available to you? Or are you going to take a little bit riskier setup, thinner or faster tires with less puncture protection, things like that?
I usually err on
gravel.
the side of more puncture protection and inserts for pretty much any race. I would say the only race that I didn't do inserts at is Sea Otter. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Unbound and Big Sugar for me are kind of in a category on its own. Like it's weird the lifetime Grand Prix for me, because the 2 races that I really like maybe the third one that's now the Rad will be added to that, but like the 2 races that I feel like I can do good, the only thing I'm thinking about is not flatting and not having a mechanical. That's the weird thing. The only true gravel race that are not just like, but the Rad, like I said, it's an addition now, we don't know, but they're all about, so it's a weird balance for me. It's like I want to do everything to perform, because it's like really literally my 2 A races, but like at Unbound this year, like that was an example. I was in the front group flat out of it, and then if you ride 100K by yourself, it's gonna like you're not gonna come back. I think Alexey and I discuss about it all, like insert, no insert, insert, no insert. I finally decided to go no insert. I flatted, but I don't think it would have, I don't know. I don't think it would have, like at the end of the day, like I don't know. And I think Alexey went with insert, but yeah, it's so hard to say. Yeah, he flatted too.
So I think it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, Adam and I did talk a lot about this because we were both with Kenda tires, and we had a new tire we'd never really ridden. And I think that always plays into these big races that tech comes out that, like the Tour, for the first time, but it's in the gravel endurance space that has never been race tested. And you're getting told by an engineer it's the best, it's the fastest, it's the strongest, but I don't know how it handles. I don't know what it does. And I kind of sit between this thing because both tire companies and Envy, the wheel company I work with, don't really love inserts. I don't think the other side, both of those, like the tire and the wheel company, most of them don't like those things because it changes the characteristics of both, the wheel and the tire. And most of them haven't been tested under pressure with another thing inside of the tire. I think for me, the big difference is gravel. It's pretty simple. I almost always run inserts because we are hitting things at speed that we don't see. It's not like if I'm riding here at home, I don't run inserts. Why do I need them? I'm looking where I'm going. I should be able to know. I should be able to hold my line and pay attention. Mountain bike, I almost never run inserts. I think because I'm light enough and it's just something that I've always focused on. It's like it changes the way you ride the bike. Last year at Leadville, almost everyone we saw flat was on a full suspension. It wasn't because they were riding stupidly. It's because I think that part of your brain that just lets it go down power line and you hit something, a bike can't do everything. And so Alex Howes and I talk about this a lot. Like if you're going to ride a hardtail at Leadville, you better be on that thing for a month and just ride it and learn to pick that thing up over everything and not get tired. Because the minute you are coming down Sugarloaf and just push in instead of pull up, It's done. You could double flat like that. And so I think it's just how you ride the bike and then how you want to race. Because if you're going to end up being tired and just obliterating down Sugarloaf, great, you should ride a full suspension with inserts. And if not, risk it for the biscuit, but you know what you did.
Yeah, so that's why those races are weird, because I feel like I need to risk it at Big Sugar and Unbound, because they're literally the only two races of the lifetime that I feel like I can win. So like that's why they're so stressful, because a race like Steamboat, a race like Gravel World, Gravel Local, like all those races, like I'm gonna do what I have to do once I'm in the group. I'm gonna play my card and hope for the best. Like I don't have to think literally every second about like what rock is coming. But like, yeah, that's the beauty of kind of those two races, because the World Tour guys from Europe, they come and they hate it. And I think that maybe keeps our gravel scene a little bit tighter. So in a way it serves us, but it's definitely way too much thinking before the race.
I think if you're risking it for the biscuit at either Unbound or Big Sugar, you're going to be fixing a flat. If you're risking it,
I don't know.
for
I
the
risked
biscuit with
it
your
last year,
equipment.
man. No.
You had a ton of
I
sealant
risked
in your
it last
tires.
year, bro. Yeah, but I didn't have the insert, and I didn't run that like good resistant tire. I run a very fast tire. But
Okay.
yeah,
Didn't you double
I
flat
trust the
last year?
sealant. Huh?
Didn't you double flat last year?
No, at Big Sugar, so my rear tire apparently flatted, but I had no idea. So at the end of the race, I had sealant all over my jersey and my helmet, and I had like 15 psi, but sealed very well. But yeah, Unbound, I flatted every time I did it, so maybe Dylan is right in that case. I don't know, maybe I'm just too heavy, or I don't know.
No, it's also gonna be bad luck, right? I mean, I think that's the gravel thought that I have is like on a mountain bike, very rarely are we ever like following each other wheel to wheel to wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much only power line descent, in my opinion. That's dangerous. The rest of the Grand Prix, in gravel races, I'm hitting stuff I don't see, and that's my worry. But otherwise, it's hard to think like. I would say gravel technologies arguably come further than cross country technology. That doesn't mean that it makes for bomb-proof tires, because you can have a brand new tire just like it takes the wrong rock and sidewall and.
Mm-hmm. So does sealant really help avoid flat though?
Avoid.
Like that's kind of my thinking. Like if I'm flatting, I'm flatting. Like I'm not gonna ride on the thing.
You're a true roadie still.
What?
You're a true roadie
exactly.
still.
If I'm flatting, and I'm trying to fix it, then I'm not riding on a. Like at Unbound, like where I flatted, I had 100k to go on that insert. I'm like, what would it change? So that's my thinking. Like, why would I carry it? Yeah.
No, the insert is avoiding less of an impact. So it's pinch flatting where the insert is supposed to help. If you're hitting a rock,
I never pinch flat. I just
then
cut my tire.
Never run inserts.
You pinch flat?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you did at Mid-South? You hit that rock, right?
If it's a snake bite?
Mid-South, I don't know what I did. At Mid-South, I destroyed everything, but I had insert. At Mid-South, like the wheel was not good at anything, but I had insert, and that was the time I was like, I'm not running insert.
So then this is my question.
They don't do anything. Like,
what insert did you run, and how much pressure did you change from a tire with an insert to a tire without an insert?
So yeah, that's the only reason I would run insert, is that I could run 28 at the back rather than 32. Like that's why I would run insert. That's the only like way I see it. Like especially at Big Sugar, for example, that like I'm still debating in my head, is that at Big Sugar I could run a lower pressure, and maybe if I run a lower pressure, I don't know, maybe the rocks cut my tires a little bit less. I don't know, but yeah. So what changed my mind is that I was running the Victoria, like the road one at Mid-South, and when it came to fixing my flat, I felt like I was not able to fix it in a way because of the insert. So that was like that in my head. Like I felt like like all the insert was like, I feel like the sealant was maybe like in the insert, like absorbed by the insert. So I was like, maybe I have less sealant. And the way I was handling the plug, I was like plugging on the insert rather than like really going in and just going out. And maybe it was just a really bad puncture. Like it messed with my head. But that was kind of my thinking. Like I was like, are the pros are really worth the cons? And that I don't know enough about them, so that's why I like this conversation right now.
I do think the road inserts, people do that because it's lighter weight. You're ruining the reason to run an insert, in my opinion.
Okay.
Well, the road
you have to run an insert that's made for your tire.
The Road Vittoria insert the Road Vittoria insert expands when your tire goes flat, so you probably were punching your plug straight into the insert because it expanded to fill up the space. I would recommend using
that's why it didn't work.
A gravel-specific insert.
Yeah? So what do you guys use?
I use Vittoria gravel inserts and then Tubo Light mountain bike inserts.
And what's the best in between the both?
What?
For gravel. I don't care.
It depends. To me, it really still depends on what size tire you're running. Because the Vittoria gravel insert, I don't think goes big enough for most gravel tires guys are running nowadays.
Okay.
But that being said, if you think about your rim, you're just trying to keep, if the tire were to compress, you're trying to have something in between the tire compressing and the rim.
Yeah, because you're trying to save the rim, but I don't really care about saving the rim.
No, you're not saving the rim. You're saving the tire from a pinch flat.
Okay.
No, the rim doesn't matter. Hopefully your rim's not going to explode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
and does the insert having pressure on your tire makes it more likely to cut the sidewall or no?
These are the questions. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
And I also I don't.
So no, I don't think so. I don't think so either. But the insert rubbing the sidewall of the tire on the inside could theoretically increase the rolling resistance, which is why I go with the Vittoria inserts, because the Vittoria inserts don't touch the sidewalls of the tire at all.
So Alexey, you want something that touch the sidewall, but Dylan, you don't. That's it.
Well, I do. The Tubo Light inserts that I have on my mountain bike, they do touch the sidewall, but the best case scenario is that there's nothing touching the sidewall, because if there is stuff touching the sidewall, it could theoretically increase the rolling resistance.
And if you get it to stand up tall enough, you can have that tire come hit the foam rather than hit the rim, and it keeps the tire round instead of pinching like this, and then that's where you get this pinch flat on the side of the tire. So ideally, it's protecting against some of that.
So you want something that's large enough for the rim, but that hopefully doesn't touch the tire. Is that it? Yeah, maybe.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
But you also have to watch that. Like that, the reason that I stopped running Vittoria gravel inserts is because I don't think they did their job as an insert, and I was carrying around weight. So yes, you have more rolling resistance. This is what I was telling you before, Unbound, because I use Tubo Light gravel inserts that 100% touch the rim, but that thing is not going to pinch flat. I tagged a rock on the side. That's how I flatted. I don't know how you would pinch flat. Maybe running 10 psi, and but so you have all these trade-offs, right? Was it worth it for 200 miles to have something that may have been a slower rolling resistance? I also think that marginal gains, even aerodynamics, that are coming into the sport, yes, they matter at the speeds we're going, but it has to be thought of where races are won. So if you look at Schwalmegen, for example, great, we went 30k an hour, we went 18 miles an hour, 100% aerodynamics matter. Guess where that race is won? On a 2.5 minute climb that is not gravel bike worthy. So I don't think it's as easy as pointing and saying, hey, this is why we race this is why we race that. It has to be to how you ride a bike and then deciding. I think the choice you made at Unbound was the right choice for you. You didn't have confidence in an insert, and I think you have to go test it. You also have to learn, in my opinion, how to take a tire off with an insert inside, because otherwise you'll be sitting there for 4 hours.
For sure. That's what I learned in Mid-South. That's what I learned. I got stuck for 1 hour on the side of the road. Yeah.
And it's just frustrating because you're sitting there and people are passing you.
Yeah, because like you say, you're never running an insert in training. So even if you're flatting, you're not training it because you don't have an insert. And then you arrive in a race and you're like, what do I do?
But last year
Stuck
before Unbound, I was purposely doing that. I was training with inserts to figure out how much sealant it sucked up, because all inserts suck up different amounts of sealant.
Uh-huh.
And secondly, to figure out how do I get this damn tire off. And some inserts are easier than others. And it's just really about where you put leverage.
Yeah, no, it's tricky. If you never did it, like, you better not put an insert for the first time in your race, because you're gonna be stuck there on the side of the road not knowing what to do. Like, I was trying everything. I was feeling like the dumbest person out there, and I was like, what am I doing? And like, it's like when you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, just gets worse.
This is one of the things I love about gravel. I ask a question about how does the addition of a race change the riskiness of your setup. We went into a 20-minute deep dive on tires and inserts and sealant.
Travis, how was your Unbound? Your experience?
Oh, my Unbound. I learned that standing in the booth all day is not a good prep. Yeah. No matter how many people told me to sit down, like you, to leave the booth and go away.
Does Alex have something like that you cannot do anything before the day of the race or something? You do everything on Thursday because you don't want to be standing up on Friday?
Was that to me?
Yeah. Or you don't do that?
I tend to. Beginning of the year I didn't. Last year I didn't. I don't know how I got away with it. I mean, Unbound and Leadville for me with the From the Ground Up project are batshit. Like, I can't find half an hour to myself. Like last year before Leadville, I was 11:30. Shannon was filming me doing bike work, putting a SILCA chain on and stuff at like 11:30 at night. I have this thought process that I try to tell myself: if you get sleep the 5 days before, you don't need sleep the night before.
Yeah, that's lying to yourself, knowing that you're lying to yourself, but you're still trying not to lie to yourself. Yeah.
But this is when I left road, I left that side of me behind. I will never be the athlete that fully bares my teeth ever again. I don't want
brush
to
your teeth.
Like, bares my teeth. Like, I'll never be a very like intense. I love winning, but it's not at all costs.
Adam, brushing your teeth costs you watts. You didn't know that?
but I don't know.
It's an arrow penalty.
Yeah,
the plaque actually helps.
No, it's probably better because it's lighter. Yeah, you're lighter when you brush your teeth.
But yeah, so like, I think Leadville, I don't have anything on Friday, but I'm doing everything back, like with the project of the house. I just did everything of my doing on Thursday.
And how? So you just because that's a mental thing. I struggle still with gravel. Is that exactly like you say? Like in road, you can focus everything on like performance and training because you don't have to do anything else. And that's a balance I'm still like really struggling with. Is like being able to like sacrifice a little bit of training because you need to do those like content and stuff.
Well, it depends on the companies you work with. Like, I don't think Keegan's having this conversation. Keegan has signed with companies that want him to just go in and validate that category. And if you want to do that and you don't want to do any of the other stuff, but you better win everything. You better be up there all the time. Otherwise, the way you're selling product, the way you are educating people or being a part of a community is by being part of the community. It's not by racing. And that's the hard part as a competitive athlete, that like, I think like for me, Belgian Waffle Ride 3 years ago now, shit, getting old, was like, that was a reminder for me. Like, I flatted out of that, like there was like a winning move of like Pete and Sandy was up there and Russell and no, not Russell.
Is that when you hit the first climb? I remember it was like my second gravel races and we hit that road climb.
This is 2 years after that, yeah.
Okay.
But regardless, my point was I was pissed. I was getting passed by everybody. I was trying to plug this tire, whatever, went from racing for the win to nothing, and then found a woman on the side of the road who just got on a gravel bike. This is on Lemon Twistenberg, coming back along the highway, along Del Dios. And her husband had given her a saddlebag, but he'd given her a straighter valve tube that didn't fit through her wheel. He'd given her a pump that pumped a suppressor valve. And you're just like, you realize that person's love of cycling is in the balance. on the side of the road because they have no idea what they're doing and they don't have another race to focus on. This was their big focus. Mm-hmm. And so I think when you take that step back and you're forced to, like I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to stop. Like I need to stop being so self-centered and just try to help her, and then I'll move on. Like I'm going to finish top 20. I'm going to finish top 20 no matter what. Mm-hmm. And you realize those things that like we can go race hard and you can race fast, but you're affecting other people. Mm-hmm. And they are the ones that are either buying a bike or supporting a race or anything else that the reasons we all want to go race, the reasons we all have a job. And so it's big and it's hard. And I think you can kind of choose races you want to be more focused on. But like I definitely don't have a no Friday on my feet rule. I try to limit it. But like Iceman, for example, like home race, right? I spent 8 hours at the expo. Mm-hmm. I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's for sure a change of mindset going from that to the road.
Yeah, I mean the road is definitely right. It's no walking. It's get your feet up in the hotel, and I think
you don't have to do anything. Yeah. You don't cook. You have massage. You don't drive your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, guys. I think looking forward to the rest of the season. Is there any races in particular you guys are looking forward to? I guess lifetime or not. My thought was kind of lifetime. We've got Leadville, Schwamigan, Big Sugar, and the Rad left. I didn't hear anybody mention Schwamigan as something that they were particularly looking forward to.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for Schwamigan.
Yeah,
I hope it's as gnarly as last year. That was the only race of the year that I had no confidence for, and was also. It was just balls to the walls. There was no cohesiveness of any race to that. People were crashing everywhere. People were yelling at each other. People were happy with each other. People were happy. Like, you come onto a road and it'd be super, super normal and easy. You'd be like, oh, this is great. And then you'd go into a trail and it'd be chaos, absolute chaos. I don't know. That was the only race last year that was just pure racing. There was no tactics from anybody. Nobody was on the right tire. Maybe Braden Lang. Nobody was. It was a whirlwind. It was 2 hours of holy crap, what are we doing right now? Yeah. So, I'm excited. That was my favorite race last year, so I'll leave it with that.
Schwamigan's meh. I don't dislike it. I don't like it.
What race are you looking forward to the second half?
I don't know. I mean, we've hyped up the Rad a lot, but it sounds like it's going to be awesome. Maybe that race?
Adam?
A lot of it. I think the end of the year is really packed, and I'm doing the lifetime, but I'm also trying to win other gravel races. So yeah, Steamboat is the first big one, but like after that, there's Gravel Worlds the week after. There's RPI the week after, then there's the Rad, Schwamigan. Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited about it. There's not too technical stuff. If it gets muddy, it gets more technical for sure. But like, I think if it doesn't get muddy and we're just racing on grass, yeah, for sure, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, the end of the season is also awesome. The Belgian Wall for Ride in Kansas is crazy, amazing course, and you just have to drive 4 hours to be there in Big Sugar. So yeah, no, I think there's a lot of opportunity to do good at and win some of those races. So yeah, I think it's the season is starting.
I'll leave you guys with one last question. If you're in a position like me, right, just the average, if I can toot my own horn, below average cyclist, you want to go do an event. You three probably have raced more U.S. races than just about anybody as a collective whole. What's your favorite or your number one recommended race to go do for the amateur? And why?
I'm biased, but it's Iceman. My grandmother could finish it if she wanted to. It's 50K, it's under 50K, it's 28 miles. Minimal single track. You can race it flat out as a pro. or you can go and enjoy it no matter what you do. Like, I think for the first year, my brother, mom, and dad are doing it this year. And, like, they're going to finish, they're going to get warm, and then pros will come flying through. Like, I don't know, there's a level of true, like, everyone is on the same start line situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on...
I saw your social media last year. Go ahead, Dylan.
Oh, you can continue. I was just going to answer my part of the question, but you're responding to Alexey.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw Alexey's socials last year after you won Iceman, and I think I texted you and was like, all right, I'm in. Let's go do that.
It's the
That
biggest,
was like a blast.
biggest one-day mountain bike race in the nation. Biggest one-day race in the nation, not mountain bike race.
Yeah.
How is it the biggest?
It's the most people.
That's the most people.
Yeah, 6,000 people.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it gets it does get crazy. You're finishing and there's just people everywhere. Drums in the woods.
Season.
That's why it's fun.
There's
party.
snow. There's snow here.
I know, but
bike.
that's fun.
Yeah, maybe.
I think the best part of that race is also that you win an ice trophy and you party with it that night and it melts. The winning, the money you win, that's great. Who cares? But the ice trophy,
who cares,
you can go anywhere. You can do anything. You own that town that night.
Okay. Yeah, it's on
What were you saying, Dylan?
I mean, I was going to say, I think it depends on what you're into. Are you more of a gravel guy? Are you more of a mountain bike guy? I mean, if we're talking specifically, are we talking specifically about you, Travis, or are we talking about your average person?
No, just the coolest event that you go to. It's 2023. We all ride all the bikes.
I don't know. I think that my all-time favorite race ever is dead at this point, unfortunately. We'll see if it comes back, but it's the Shenandoah 100, which is a mountain bike race in Virginia. I think that it had the best atmosphere before and after the race, and I also really like the course. It's a 100-mile mountain bike race, so it is very hard. It's very hard to finish. It's definitely not something that, your elderly grandma could do. But it's probably my all-time favorite race. And unfortunately, I think that last year a lot of locals were upset about bike racers riding on their home roads and their home trails. So it may not be happening anymore. But that one holds a special place for me.
All right.
I don't know how to respond to it. Honestly.
Spring bank crits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No. Yeah, it's. I think they all bring something different. Like I think I never answered that question. I really like all the races that are close to my house, and there's few of them, like in Vermont. Even the races that are on my side of the border. Hopefully some more people will come to those races. I think the East Coast has a lot to favor. We'll finish on that, I guess. The temperature is better in the summer. Yeah.
I think there's a
more races on the East Coast.
I think there's a common thread here. We all picked races that are close to where we grew up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's probably it. I think you for sure play it well. That's why Dylan did so well in North Carolina, because he knew the road. Like, it was not because he had crazy shape or anything,
It's true. I could do that entire course like with no course markings or no GPS. So
yeah, a lot of attacking in the downhill. That didn't have insert, and the rim was okay. So
okay.
Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Best of luck the rest of the season, and I'm sure I'll see you at the next couple races, and we'll catch up then.
Sounds
Thanks,
great.
Travis. Good to see you guys.
Appreciate it, guys.